Going on, family? How y'all doing? How y'all doing? Welcome to Lapeef Sunday.
Doing good, man. What's good with y'all?
No complaints over here. Happy Sunday to everyone. Let me go ahead and introduce the crew. We got Allie, Jay Story to Tell, One Country Cookie, Hink, Luis, me, myself, Lapeef JR. It's good to be here, man. How y'all doing on this Sunday?
Chilling, man. Watching America.
For sure.
Watching like season 6 of America.
Doing
It's
well,
straight out a
doing
movie,
well.
right?
How y'all like, yo, it's a movie out here, man.
It's
The
almost
action.
like it's almost like we're living in the history books right now. I'm pretty sure about 15 years later, they're going to be talking about this. You might see a picture of one of us somewhere now.
I feel like us 80s babies, man, we've seen a lot. We've seen a lot change. Like technology, economics. We lived through a lot. The people before us, of course, they've seen drastic changes, but I think we've seen the most progressive changes and stuff that, we were told about when we were younger, JFK, all that stuff. Like we're seeing like the reinvention of most of it, you know, market collapses.
Yeah, I can agree with that. We're going to
I think
definitely.
we watch a
Uh,
theater.
well, that's interesting, man. I want you to hold on to that thought right there. Shout out to the sponsor, T. Chanley. Uncomplicated skincare for men. 40% off along with a free gift. That's 40% off along with a free gift. Just click that link that's in the description. And if you become a member, you get 20% off for life. Also, shout out to Assure Man King on top. Assure Man King on top. The link is in the description as well.
Maintaining your beard isn't just style, it's self-respect. A well-grown beard boosts confidence and leaves a lasting impression. Elevate your look. Embrace the importance of beard care today.
Shout out to all my confident men out there, man. If you been struggling with that beard, it's not connecting right, it's not fluffy, it's not soft, this is the way that you want to go. Click that link that's in the description. What you about to say? Oh yeah. Okay. All right.
Trying
Well,
to
you guys heard Cookie. Yeah, you guys heard Cookie, man. She said a bunch of theater entertainment going on here. I definitely will interested to hear your take on this one. We'll go ahead and play a clip just to bring you guys up to speed. Hit that like button. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Shout out to King Strong, Dale Matthew, Teresa. I see you guys. Here we go.
Gunfire erupted at a campaign rally for former President Donald Trump in Butler, Pennsylvania, Saturday. Trump said a bullet struck him in the ear. Here's how the attack unfolded. President Trump was speaking from a stage located here, with Secret Service snipers in position on the roof of a building behind the stage. The suspected gunman was on the roof of another building less than 450 feet away from where Trump was speaking, with a clear line of sight.
And look what happened to our country.
Moments before the shooting, we can hear nearby spectators saying they see someone with a gun.
He's got a gun!
At the same time, while Trump speaks, the Secret Service snipers can be seen facing the gunman's direction. We see the agent on the roof pick his head up just before shots ring out at 6:15. Secret Service agents rush to pull Trump to the ground. As they rush him from the stage, blood can be seen on the bleachers behind where Trump was speaking. A spectator was killed and 2 more were critically injured at the event. The suspected gunman, 20-year-old Thomas Matthew Crooks, was shot and killed.
I had to cut it out, man. I didn't really know what was going to be acceptable on YouTube, but I cut the last part out. Anyhow, we seen how the story unfolded, man. I was quite surprised. I was taking a nap, and then Jay texted me asking, have I seen that they tried to assassinate Donald Trump? I said, what? The first thing I do is open up IG. I just seen it down my timeline, nothing but Donald Trump. I didn't know what to think. I didn't think that it was staged due to what I was seeing. But as I kept getting people's perspectives and opinions about it, it became interesting to me. But I am curious to start off with you guys. I'm gonna go ahead and start off with you, Hank. When you seen the news broke, what were your immediate thoughts?
The crazy part was, I mean, when I first heard it, I heard it on YouTube. Somebody was doing a show about, like, well, hold on, I need to go back and see what's happening. What is this about? You know, they was trying to debate whether it was fake or staged or all a whole setup. And then, of course, I got to see a couple angle footages, and one of the angles you showed right there was one of the angles able to see. I was kind of shocked, but not surprised. Donald Trump is a polarizing type person. You know, he says some polarizing type things, and you got some people who are very extreme, and to that point, taking his life. I mean, an attempt on his life. I wouldn't think somebody would do that. Maybe, you know, run up on him and threaten him, as doing all that. But I thought we've probably seen the last of situations like that. But I guess I was wrong.
All right. What about you, Luis?
I'll say this. I mean, we all remember what happened to JFK, and we all remember what happened to, you know, other presidents who, you know, had assassination attempts done on them. You know, considering where he was, the podium didn't have like a clear shield. Did anybody see that? It felt like he was on.
I was thinking the same thing too, because I was seeing reports that the glass shattered. I'm like, what glass? It must be some advanced technology.
I mean, unless it's an invisible force field that we don't know about, I didn't see no shield, no sort of clear, sort of protective barrier. Right? He was on the podium, and quite frankly, he was in a very open, spacious field. If anything, that's a sniper's paradise. I'm kind of surprised, you know, not wishing anything bad to happen to him, but like if it's open and it's not, why didn't you go for center mass? And like, what did he get hit with? Like a 22, because it definitely wasn't anything that a professional would have used. So there's just a lot of things that make it a little not questionable, because obviously I do believe that there was a real assassination attempt on his life. But just how everything kind of folded just makes me kind of wonder how their Secret Service didn't really plan out all the security and safety protocols, considering, you know, it's a very polarizing figure like Donald Trump. So,
Okay. So did you think it was staged?
no, I don't think it's staged, but I do think that they did milk the moment. I do think that they used it to their advantage. Because you know what was so crazy though? After the shots had rang and he got down and his security team came over and they covered him, like it was just so convenient how he got up and like they kind of like he raised his hand into the air, and you know how you see the American flag kind of captured in the back, like the perfect kind of like I was like God has a funny sense of humor, you know, or this was like very well orchestrated. So
Yeah, one of the things that because I was thinking along the same lines, that if he's trying to be protected, they should have done a better job. either he was fighting and they couldn't hold him down, which he's an older man. I find it hard to believe that they can't hold him down, making sure he don't break out of whatever circle that they were trying to crowd him with. But it's just kind of one of those things that kind of make you think, because if shots are being fired, I would think that he would have total protection. Are you saying something, Luis? I'm not sure if you muted. Can you guys hear me okay? Okay. All right. Well, while Luis is getting set back up, I'm not sure if you're trying to say anything. I'm going to go to you, Allie.
I'd agree. It was a bit suspect that he popped back up. And then in addition to that, if this was, a government event, where was the crowd control after the fact? Because everyone had zero survival skills. Everyone just stood there gawking and staring and then started chanting. So that was quite bizarre. But yeah, I agree. Him popping up his head, and I think he put his hand up too, I think toward the end as well. But like circling back to like my initial thoughts about it, I saw it on Instagram and digesting the information, trying kind of like the same thing, reading that it was potentially glass from a teleprompter that had struck him. I feel that, unfortunately, that this is on brand for the divisiveness that he has created throughout his political career. And that it's unfortunate that more and more people are waking up each day so triggered by politics that that's all they eat, live, and breathe, and it controls them. And it's sad that it had to result to that, if this is true, as we learn more details. So I hate to say it, but reading it, was it shocking? Yes. Was it unsurprising? No. That's my initial thoughts on it, because I feel like I could feel it coming, the divisiveness that he's created.
In 1 second, I'm just trying to bring up this video. See if I can bring it up. It's a long video, but I'm just going to just play some of the beginning.
What's going on, y'all? I'm going to make a video real quick. It's kind of echoing here. There's a cricket in here that I wish I could stomp out, but I can't find it. So I want to explain a little bit of this shooter incident. Tomorrow, I'm going to have a mic, lapel, everything. I'll make it clean so I can do a better synopsis of this. But when I looked over this, obviously I have some experience on the SWAT team. I know a lot of guys on SWAT. I'm going to try to do a live stream and put a lot of tactical people in there so this can be explained. I want to dispel a couple myths and put it in perspective for people. 148 yards is a long way. If you have ever watched a football game, if you're looking from end zone to end zone, that's 100 yards. And then you go another 50 yards. That's a football field and a half. The furthest I shot without an optic was 100 yards in SWAT training and also in basic training. When you shoot at 100 yards through, unless you have magnification, you're shooting at a person and your optic is about this little. This is what the silhouette of a person is at 100 yards without magnification. And at 150 yards, I mean, you talking like this. Without magnification, it's impossible to hit somebody in the dome at range like this. I'm assuming that this guy had a rifle with magnification and he had training. Trump was here. The snipers were here. The reason why they're positioned here and they put Trump here is so they can control angles of fire from different people. This is bushes. It's almost impossible to hit Trump in a clear sight here. It's almost impossible to hit Trump clear sight here. Nobody's hitting him from these angles because this is a building and he's positioned right here. The only way people can hit him is probably here and this side. And that's why the sniper's positioned here, because they could easily scan from here across here with officers on the ground. High point, they should see on top of all these buildings. And for them to engage with him like this is very interesting. And we'll talk about it tomorrow more, but this is very interesting. Because you can clearly see while Trump is speaking, the snipers were looking in this direction. Without magnification, they're not going to be able to really see this guy on top of the shed. I mean, he's probably the size of my thumbnail to them on top of this shed. That's how little he would be from way over here. And it looks like he was wearing clothes that were similar to the coloring of the top of the shed. So potentially, when they're looking over here, they don't know what they're looking at. They probably see somebody crawling, but from here they may not be able to see the gun. They probably have to look through magnification to make sure that this guy has a gun before they shoot him. Mm-hmm. I don't know, without getting all the evidence, who shot first. If he's here at 150 yards with a suppressor, nobody heard the bang. You probably heard the whizzing of the bullets, but nobody heard the bang. If he didn't have magnification, the bullets are already hidden before you hear the bang because the bullet travels faster than the speed of sound. What we probably heard was them shooting him. A theory that was brought up on my live stream on YouTube was that there was a potential that they shot him first and potentially missed. So they had him, they saw him, they scoped him, they shot him. The sniper looked up to verify and then went back into the optic. That could have been what happened. He missed, he got a clear shot on Trump. Or he shot first, they saw the muzzle flash, identified him as a threat and shot him. I'm gonna say this and I'm gonna end it. There seems to be no way whatsoever a person can do multiple follow-up shots from 150 yards and they be accurate at all. This guy, two things could have happened. The God factor could have happened, or this guy didn't zero his rifle. If he had magnification and he tried to shoot Trump from here with a headshot, with a good gun, a good platform, good training, good trigger pull, he could have hit Trump in the head from here. Relatively easy at 150, depending on the rifle. But if this guy is not an expert and didn't zero his rifle, that could have been why he missed Trump right off the ear. Because from that distance, if you don't pull the trigger right, if your breathing is not right, it ain't no way you're gonna hit somebody solid, even if you have you have the optic right on the person.
All right, go ahead, Jay.
I mean, I saw a lot of people, with the stage theory. And I mean, you never can be too sure. I mean, based on what I saw, it didn't look staged. It looked like someone who, probably played a lot of Call of Duty, and they thought that they could actually do this. They didn't have the right caliber, they didn't have the right equipment, but they were probably in these forums and they got tasked with that. Oh, he's coming to your city. Aren't you in this city? Aren't you in Butler? Yeah, I'm in Butler. It's your time to shine. You know what I'm saying? And then this was the odd thing. I know if you see the people being interviewed, there was a guy saying that he was telling the cops, like, look, there's a guy, we seen him clear as day crawl up there with a rifle in his hand. And, he was saying the cops were kind of like really lackadaisical, like they weren't acting right away. They were really lackadaisical because because he said he was at a distance where he couldn't see directly to Trump, but he could hear the speech still going. So after he alerted the cops, he noticed that the Trump speech was still going along. And he's like, why haven't they removed him off the stage? I told these people that I see somebody that's a possible threat up on the roof with a rifle. Why haven't y'all taken him off the stage? This is what the guy said when he was being interviewed. And when you say stage, it's like, people lost their lives, so and there are casualties, even if it is staged, there are casualties in that, but staged by who? Was it staged by Trump, or was it staged by somebody that, doesn't want Trump to do what he's continuing to do? You understand what I'm saying? Because if you alert the cops, or just think about it. I was watching a show where somebody was talking about they were going hunting with Trump Jr., right? And Trump Jr., you have to kind of sign paperwork for you to have the detail. Because, with ex-presidents, Barack, all of them, they have Secret Service with them for the rest of their lives, that follow them and their family. If you want to drop your detail, you have to sign paperwork to say, I don't want this security with me at this time. You have to sign a waiver for that. Long story short, Donald Trump Jr. was hunting. He was out there hunting, and he was, realizing like, where the hell are the animals? I don't see any animals here. I've been sitting here for damn near a day and a half, back and forth, and not one animal. One of the people who had a cabin in that area was like, what do you expect? He was like, being that you were coming out here to hunt, the Secret Service damn dropped like a plane 4 times down here to, look at the area, survey the area, to assess if they had to get you out of this predicament, how many times they would do it. So he's saying that those helicopters and stuff doing those test runs ran all the animals away. So the animals aren't coming back for at least 2 or 3 days. So I say that to say, if they're doing that for his son, imagine what they should be doing for him. Or imagine what they do for him. They went to that area, surveyed it. How is a random 20-year-old just climbing up a random building and setting up that easy? And then you have these people standing by and it looks, sketchy to them, and they're relaying this to law enforcement and it's not being handled. So that's what I think. It could be staged or it could be an inside job. Who knows?
All right, here's that video he was talking about. So then I'll go to one country.
And listen to the rally, right? We couldn't see him, but we could hear him. So we walked up, and probably 5 to 7 minutes of Trump speaking. I'm estimating here. I have no idea, But we noticed a guy crawling, bear crawling up the roof of the building beside us, 50 feet away from us. So we're standing there, we're pointing at the guy crawling up the roof.
And he had a gun, right?
He had a rifle.
A rifle.
We could clearly see him with a rifle. Absolutely. We're pointing at him. The police are down there running around on the ground. We're like, hey, man, there's a guy on the roof with a rifle. And the police were like, huh, what? Like they didn't know what was going on. We're like, hey, right here on the roof. We can see him from right here. We see him. He's crawling. And next thing you know, I'm thinking to myself, why is Trump still speaking? Why have they not pulled him off the stage? I'm standing there pointing at him for, 2-3 minutes. Secret Service is looking at us from the top of the barn. I'm pointing at that roof, just standing there like this. And next thing you know, 5 shots ring out.
So you're certain that the shots came from that guy on the roof?
100%. 100%.
And he was up there for a couple of minutes.
He was up there.
You saw him up there for a couple of minutes.
Absolutely. At least 3 to 4 minutes.
And you were telling the police and the Secret Service?
We were telling the police. We were pointing at him for the Secret Service, who were looking at us from the top of the barn. They were looking at us the whole time when we were standing by that tree.
Could they see
binoculars?
Could they see him?
Probably not, because the roof, the way the slope went, he was behind where they could see. But why is there not Secret Service on all of these roofs here? I mean, this is not a big place.
Did you see, obviously everyone, when the shooting started, everyone was very panicked. Did you see what happened to him at all?
Oh, yeah, they blew his head off.
Okay, sorry.
Secret Service blew his head off.
Okay, just be careful because we don't quite know who's watching, but you're pretty sure they shot the guy?
Absolutely, 100%.
Okay.
Yep.
You saw that happen?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And did you see them go up to him afterwards, or?
They crawled up on the roof. They had their guns pointed at him, make sure he was dead. He was dead, and that was it. It was over.
It's real quick, my fault. Real quick. It's funny how, you come to these people to just experience this traumatic event and you expect them to be, articulate and calm about what they just witnessed. You know what I'm saying? You seen how he got offended? Well, what happened? He blew his head off. Like, what'd you expect him to say? Like, yeah, his thoughts were removed from his plan. You know what I mean? Like,
they were scattered everywhere. His thoughts were scattered everywhere.
Yeah, like you expect him to be as articulate from what he just saw something traumatic. Oh, could you calm down? We have people watching.
All right, go ahead, Cook.
I'm gonna keep it short for real because so registered Republican gets in and one of the most protected people in the world. And he misses. But let me tell you something. Let me tell you who doesn't miss. The Secret Service. I looked up at that gun. I saw that rifle. I looked at the scope on that rifle. There's no way he's supposed to miss that shot for him to get a shot off. He's a spotter. Not only do they have spotters on the roofs, this is coming from my military father. I know how this works. They have spotters in regular clothes on the ground. They have spotters. So my whole thing about it is the reason I think it's cap is because the former president didn't panic enough. The people around him didn't panic enough. The people in those bleachers didn't panic enough. It just seemed a little bit like, oh, nobody's really going to get hurt. And I mean, we're acting like people being sacrificed by our government is something that they don't do, or like it's new with Flint, Michigan still having brown water. Like, okay, somebody ended up dead. They don't care. I'm not a Democrat, so I don't want to hear that. Everybody's like, oh, you must be a Joe Biden. No, I'm not. I just don't think any of them care about us. And they'll do anything to get elected. He was on the ground forever, gets up, fist pumping, talking about fight, fight, fight. Oh, where's my shoes? Meanwhile, the shooter has not been neutralized yet. If you go through the time crunch, and they're trying to get him to the car. The shooter was neutralized. He should have been down as long as that man was alive. But he walking, fighting, getting up, want a fist pump. He knew he wasn't in danger. That's of dying. That's why I feel it's cap. He fought too hard to stand back up because he knew he was not in any danger of being killed to begin with. Nobody that has had an attempt on their life would be that gung-ho about standing up and putting their head back in harm's way without knowing that that person has been neutralized. And there's no way he knew if that person was neutralized because he was flat on his stomach. And that little bit of blood that came off a sniper bullet. Do y'all hunt? Have y'all seen the size of those bullets? I hunt. I'm from the country. There's no way. I call cap. Y'all can say what you want. I'm not Amanda Seals. I don't care. I know how bullets work. I know how weapons work. I know how scopes work. I know how the military moves. Those are all former military or present military people protecting the president. And I feel like he knew what was going on, if nobody else. So whatever. It's stupid. They'll sacrifice anybody to win at this point. Both sides. So I'd say be ready. And everybody's like, oh, this was civil war, terrorist attack. They're just getting us ready for what's to come. Some bullshit. Some more bullshit. So stay out of crowded places and stay out of tall buildings. Because we have a history of that shit too.
I mean, it kind of makes sense now that you're laying it out like that, because I came from a property. I worked at a property for nearly a decade with top-notch surveillance. Nothing moves, especially when there's something big happening, entertainment, whatever. We called it the eye in the sky. The eye in the sky is always watching everything. When money would move, people would move, you would move, from anything. So it is kind of bizarre because with this being this type of event, that's exactly, I'd imagine, how it would work. And to your point, top level military security professionals, like, they're on the phone, on the radio, left and right when he's taking a step, when he's taking a sip of water. Like, it is bizarre.
He let 6 Marines. He's so strong. Donald Trump was able to fight off 6 Marines to get up and pump his fists and look for his shoes at the same time because that was on the hot mic. Let me get my shoes. Sir, somebody's trying to kill you. Oh, wait, but they really not, though. So the world is a stage. I better pay attention.
All right, go ahead, Luis.
Yeah, I was gonna say, do you think that his security team didn't know what was going on, but him and maybe a select other few people did know what was going on? So it was like almost like a blind mouse situation.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I think the people that let him get up knew. I think maybe even the guy on the roof No, he had a clear shot. There's no way with that scope. That scope was magnified. Oh, Buddy was talking about it, but he doesn't understand who had that scope. Oh, he shot him and he missed. No, he don't miss with that
Yeah,
scope.
yeah. I mean, like a mile, like the most successful shot, like it's almost like a mile, but 450 yards, compared to
By a Secret
1,700.
Serviceman, he not missing that
Yeah,
shot.
No. You talking about the shooter was a Secret Service person?
No, I'm talking about the
No.
spotter.
Oh,
The
okay.
spotter on that roof behind Donald Trump was not
Gotcha.
missing that shot under any circumstances. I saw the gun. It's military issued. I saw the scope. It is this big around, just the lens attached to the rifle. And you telling me that man missed that shot?
You saying he missed the person that was trying to shoot?
Yeah, they saw him. It's all he was in on it, and it was just drama. If you look at it in slow motion and watch it about 10 times, you're gonna realize how fake that is. Because even the people in the crowd behind the president, yeah, a couple of people behind him that got shot, but it's some suspicious people behind him. Like, think about it. We clearing the bleachers. We're clearing the bleachers.
I thought about that too, Cookie. I thought about that too. But then I thought culturally, because I watched that and I saw them like duck down, and I thought like me, if I was that dog, I would have been jumping, running out of my shoe.
Thank you, Jay.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I thought about that, but I said, yo, we run, we scatter, they investigate. You know what I'm saying? When we hear it, boom, we out, and we'll talk about it later. With them, it's like, where did that come from?
Well, there was a couple of people that did run. It was a couple of us black folks that took off. Now, please believe you me, we got them through.
They were already in the parking lot.
Leave them Jordans behind.
Man,
we got through. We left our white brothers and sisters there, so they could do what they want to do. But we got to get up out of here.
But you want to know something too, Hank? You want to know something? It's interesting that we're having this conversation and how Cookie broke it down, where how people in the bleachers were like very little, like they were very much not phased. And then I go back and I look at the video frame by frame of the JFK shooting, and it was still the same thing. Like people were still like very slow. Like people, like it's crazy because with us, a real shot could go off.
See, I think it's a big difference between high caliber rifles from a long distance versus stuff that we've probably experienced, which is, Negroidian handguns.
That was easily, Jay, what he was shooting is easily a 6.5 Creedmoor round.
He ain't missing that.
Easy. That thing is like this. That round. That's not your typical 5.56 or your Remington 223.
You can't buy that gun he had on their spotting. Or the binoculars. They military issue. That's why I'm like, it's all the way sus. I don't even think if it was an inside job, it was an inside job by him.
But Cookie, if you want to buy certain things, you can get them. I don't care if there's military issue or not.
You can. I mean, you'll get put in jail if you caught with them, but
yeah, for sure. But the people who's buying is not caring about that. They not caring about the repercussions. Else they would have never made a purchase.
Oh, I'm not arguing that people can buy illegal weapons. What I'm saying is that man on top of that roof that was in charge of being a spotter, all of the Secret Service men in the audience in regular clothes, all of the Secret Service men and women that were behind him in those bleachers, nobody pulled out a weapon. He was never in any real danger, and I feel like too many people knew that. That's all I'm saying. It's very obvious when you go look that they knew he was never in any real danger.
So
everybody's like, why are you on the ground so long? Why haven't they taken him to his car? Probably because they was applying that fake blood on him.
Okay, and that's what I was about to ask you.
They was
do you
doing
think
his
that
makeup
blood,
while he was on the
let me
ground.
say,
Whatever.
I thought maybe he got cut when they kind of jumped on him. I thought that's when he probably got cut. Maybe got cut.
I'll agree with that. Absolutely. But the logistics aren't adding up. if you really just think about it. And the way he got up, fight, nigga, go get in the car. What are you doing? You know you're not in any trouble. Ain't nobody trying to kill you, and you know it. That was cap.
I'm gonna play what Amanda Seals had to say.
That shit was more staged than a Tyler Perry production of Medea Runs for President. I lived in Harlem long enough to know that gunshots do not sound like making popcorn on the stove.
That part.
Where'd the blood come from? So in theater, in movies, they have what's called blood pellets. They even, people use them in Halloween. It's basically like a pellet of fake blood that's in your mouth, and when you crush it, the blood comes out. To be frank, Small Hands Trump would not respond by raising his fist in the air triumphantly were an actual attempt made on his life. This was, I believe, done to try to show his strength counter to Biden's fragility. Oh my God. Molly, you in danger, girl.
Did she lie? I mean, it was like in cut. All right, let's go to the car. Like,
I want to see a close up of the blood on his face.
It was bad. And the fact that they even got a close up of his blood on his face while there's an active
that
shooter,
photographer was dedicated. That
is
photographer,
suspicious in itself.
he was
All these
dedicated to take a
photographic
photo.
pictures being taken during a sniper on the roof. Get out of here, man. Y'all gotta wake up. Some people ended up dead. When the last time our government give a damn about sacrificing some people? I don't want to say too much. My dad was a Marine. My dad was at Barack Obama's when he became president. I know what the Secret Service looked like. Come on, man. We ducking. Ain't nobody getting these pictures. Talking about a sniper rifle did that to his ear. Man, stop. Stop it. And if somebody really wanted him dead, body shots. Body shots. It wouldn't have been no hit. It wouldn't have been no ear. Like, come on. That was cap. It was cap. And go watch it in slow motion over and over again. You're gonna be like, where'd that dude come from? Why he look like a man in black? Where are all the regular dress Secret Service people? Why is it so dramatic? Why is it looking like this? And why is President Trump allowed to stand up, pump his fist in the air, and they shielding him with their hands? Like, there's no risk there. There's no danger when you got Secret Servicemen like, come on, let's go to the car. What if it was a second shooter? They knew it wasn't. So it was bad. It was fake.
I think you made an interesting point about it being a second shooter because that could have been a possibility as well. But you don't think people were just trying to figure out what was going on? You don't think a lot of the audience and the Secret Service might have thought it might have just been some popping going?
Maybe that part was to pop.
That's anybody.
Who was that? Oh, no. They know that because they already knew it was one guy, one fall guy. And they didn't do good at that because he registered as a Republican. An innocent bystander that got killed, supposedly. And that name hasn't been released. Haven't seen any of that. And then him walking off the stage, literally walking off the stage. They'd have carried him off the stage. They'd have rushed him. Like, did you see the Ronald Reagan attempt at his life? And how they jumped on him and dove him back into that limousine? We're not helping him down the stairs, grabbing his shoes, unless we know for a fact he's safe. They knew it was only that one dude that they was gonna kill on top of that roof. I don't know how much they had to pay him if he was terminally ill. These are things that you got to look at. I just call it. I call it how I see it, man. That's not how the Secret Service operate. That's not how it operates. It's not how it works. He doesn't get up. He doesn't fist pump. They drag him straight to the vehicle. If they have to carry him, they carry him. There's no standing up last message to get this picture. And it was lame and it was very bad acting. And those people in the bleachers are incredibly stupid because you in a line of fire, right? If it was real fire going on. So what? No. I'll land my plane there in the words of panels. We can move on. I've said my piece. If anybody has questions, I'm more than willing to.
So at this point, we're operating under the assumption that there was only one person, acting alone or operating alone, outside of our own personal assumptions, puppeteering behind the scenes. But in terms of bad actor, that was only one person. Okay.
All right. I'm gonna play what.
I'm not assuming anything. The Secret Service assumed there was one shooter and felt like it was safe enough for him to stand up. That's how I know it's not real. Because they didn't have enough time to survey the angle towards his vehicle. What if it's another dude over there in the lake on a boat? What, like, they just let him? Well, that's how I know it was Cap. Dude, that's not how you protect the president, the former president either. And even Candace Owens, she a Republican. She was like, bruh, that was suspicious. So, I mean, I don't know.
Hold on, Jay, before you go, let me just play what DJ Akademiks had to say. He against Amanda Seals.
Lunatic that I don't fuck with that did try to kill Trump. You know what they're gonna say? It was staged. You're a fucking idiot. Listen to, I didn't even hear what she said. Amanda Seals, listen to this bullshit.
That shit was more staged than a Tyler Perry production of Medea Runs for President. I lived in Harlem long enough to know that gunshots do not sound like making popcorn on the stove.
Yo, Amanda Seals, you're a fucking idiot. I got 50 guns. I've heard every single gunshot from a 22, a 308, a 357, a 50 cal. I've heard a 223, 556, 9mm, 40 cal, 40. I've heard it all. They all sound different and also distant matters. This is why a bitch like you should shut the fuck up.
Ain't that the same dude that got an egg put in his face?
This is why, some of y'all are so glued into whatever political view y'all have, y'all dismiss reality. Bitch, wake up! There's a fucking whole investigation by the FBI outside in Butler. Drive over there and go see if they're investigating state shit.
I lived in Harlem.
You lived in Harlem? Bitch, I got all the guns that they shooting. You just sound like a bitch who's running her fucking mouth for no fucking reason. This is half of America. Oh, it's staged. You think people want to convince you? The fuck is this bitch even talking about? I hate people who are so stuck in their ways. My nigga, and by the way, I want to be very clear. If this happened to Biden, I'll be reacting the same way. Bro, democracy is bigger than Trump and Biden. These days, people are so aligned to a party or a side that they only expound thoughts that align with them. So, for example, these days, people are so stupid that if they believe, put it like this, if they like Trump, anything Biden does is going to be fake. That's good. If they...
Are we done with him? I don't like neither one of them. But I know some fake shit when I see it.
Okay.
He need to get his personal life straight. He throws too many insults to be getting egged on live TV or live streams. So I guess I get him though, because we don't know if the gun had a suppression on it, if it was silenced. They're claiming it was 450 some 52 yards away. So I don't comment on the gun sounds because it just depends on what gun you have. But I'm talking about the actions of the people. And yeah, they will try to convince people. That's what's even crazier. People don't believe that there was an investigation for Martin Luther King. There was an investigation for John F. Kennedy. There was an investigation for Malcolm X. Yeah, they're going to investigate. Because if they don't, then how do they sell the story? There was an investigation for 9/11. So, I mean, he can call people fucking idiots all day, but the whole government is crooked. That's what I'm trying to get people to understand. It ain't just Trump. It ain't just Joe.
But you have people, and it's not even the event; it's everything that's gonna come after it. It's
exactly. That's what they want.
Civil
war.
It's all the news clippings. It's all everything is made to be theatric, so it can induce civil unrest. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like even, God forbid, let's say it was successful. You would have had people saying those are fake brains, those ain't real brains, because with real brains they look more. You understand what I'm saying? Like you would have people sitting on the internet saying that those were, I've heard people with the JFK situation like talking about he's still alive. So you always gonna have people that just align on one side, and no matter what, anything outside of bringing them to the situation and letting them witness it for themselves, that's the only way they're gonna believe it, man.
Well,
yeah,
but
that's tragic. That's called being delusional. But we're not gonna sit here and act like.
And that's where we live in. That's the world we live in right now.
The government has staged several things since we've been alive. Anybody in their 40s know our government is crooked as
just think about it for a
crowbar.
Well, just think about it for a second. Like how far people were willing to go when it came to the January 6th fiasco that took place at the nation's capital, right? And then how far that got out of hand, right? And now people having these types of discussions and these types of conversations on the morning commute, in the office, in public spaces, etc. Insert here. People are going to feel the type of way, whether they think that it was real, whether it's fake, whether they're going to stand on business and align with whatever political party they feel strongly about. You're going to find that people outside in the general public spaces are going to fight much more harder than people on the political campaign for the people. You're going to find that people are going to fight much harder against themselves than the actual candidates running for presidency fighting for the people.
I was on a podcast last night talking about that, and I said, if civil war was to break out, where the most deaths gonna be?
The larger metropolitan cities.
The civilians.
Yeah.
They're not going to be fighting in Washington. They're going to be sitting up there laughing at all of us. Him, Joe Biden, all of them, congressmen. So my whole thing about it is just be careful what you buy into, because they will stage something to turn us against each other. That's all I'm saying. I'm neither a Democrat or Republican.
C-19. You seen how
I hope that somebody else wins. I'm praying, because I think they're working together personally.
I appreciate Jay just sent me this clip not too long ago what Candace Owens had to say.
And let me say something right now. Take this to the bank, okay? That person was allowed to scale that roof, okay? I am not some individual who's trying to assess the situation and have never been around the president of the United States. While Trump was in office, okay, was around him a lot. And let me tell you something. The Secret Service, there is no person that can get around the perimeter of the Secret Service where Donald Trump is without them being aware of it. I am not kidding when I say that my husband once almost got shot by the Secret Service because he came down a staircase. I was speaking at the NRA, and he snaked in and came down. They didn't know who he was, and they were like, freeze. Like, we will shoot you right now. So you're telling me that guy walked up and was trying to get the attention, and the Secret Service saw him, and he's pointing, and he's saying, this guy's got a gun, and they're pretending they don't know what's going on? I mean, am I crazy? Do you guys actually believe this was a failure in intelligence? All of these Secret Service agents crawling around, and you don't think just what that guy said, that is common sense, okay? They're trying to now tell us that common sense is a conspiracy. That is the new thing that they're trying to tell the public. Common sense is a conspiracy. You're telling me this guy was able to walk up with a rifle in his hand and scale a roof, and you don't think the Secret Service, and let me tell you, they get there days before. Let me tell you how a security apparatus is supposed to run. Days before, they get in and they look at every possible angle in which somebody could hurt the president. Okay? And I'm not even talking about once you get to the Secret Service. I'm talking about if you just have security in general. Before you speak, they will go, hey, this is the stage? Okay, let me tell you. That right there is a problem. They'll mark that as a spot. That right there is a problem. We need to know who this person is. They'll knock on doors. Okay? They got to figure out every possible angle that any individual could potentially get on a roof, because you know what? This has happened in the past. People have been shot from roofs. People have been shot from windows. There is a 0% chance that some random person with a rifle was able to scale a roof, unless there was just an unbelievable failure in intelligence.
I mean,
she right.
I agree. That's why it goes back to my initial point about surveillance.
But we can't act like there's not been no oversights in a lot of shit that has happened. We can't. 9/11 was a prime example of an oversight that we just failed to be on top of. Waco is an oversight.
Do you know who makes our tanks?
You said who?
Yes. Who manufactures
Who makes our
the United States?
tanks?
Yes.
No, I don't. Are you going to tell me?
The Bin Laden family.
Okay. Well, again, 9/11 was an oversight by us. Waco, David Koresh was an oversight by us. Ruby Ridge was an oversight by us. We have made multiple mistakes in situations. Multiple mistakes. And guess what? Every time they try to fix it or cover it up. This is not the first, and it definitely won't be the last of oversights that happen. We can't say there's no oversights. Now, believing it's fake, and I don't know. I don't know. I mean, it's too fresh for me to even really make an honest assessment. But we cannot say that we not had oversights and that it fell on us, whether we want to own up to them, accept them or not. Our Black community have been oversighted many a times, but that's a different story. I'm going to leave it alone.
Go ahead, Luis. You wanted to say something? Okay. I'm going to go ahead and put this on the bed then. Good conversation, man. I appreciate the perspectives on there. I have learned some things. Make me want to go back and look at some more footage based on what you guys are saying, because we don't know. We don't know, but it will be interesting. I wouldn't be surprised. I'm not going to say yay or nay. It's just kind of make you one of those things. You just got to just be on point, because you can't trust the government and you can't trust people. So you just got to be on high alert as far as what's to come. I tell you one damn thing, I won't be at nobody's rally.
Nope.
Because I don't know if that person, if that story was fake about them dying or not. But if somebody died off of this, then it just shows you that there's really no care for the people. That people will go do anything to paint a picture, even if it's going to cost people their lives. So I think this is something that's serious, and we just got to pay attention. Guys, just tuning in. Welcome to Lapeef and Sundays. Make sure you hit that like button. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel. We did have one super chat came through. Search.87 says Akademiks. Drake lost to Kendrick. You did the same. Thank you, Sir Shah, for that donation. Let's go ahead and keep it moving, man. We're going to keep it on Candace. Let's keep it on Candace. Candace Owens keeps it real with Don. We're going to play this clip.
So I'm not sure it's an indoctrination. I think it's just maybe an awareness of things that happen in society. And that doesn't mean that the pendulum doesn't swing too far sometimes, but I'm not sure I would call it an indoctrination. That's all I have to say about that.
Well, when I was in school, I learned that it was a mental disorder. I know that's changed, but it was in the DSM-5 as a mental disorder. And I accept that there are mental disorders, and people that are suffering from mental disorders should never be treated by people harassing them or people yelling at them or calling them names. So I'm sorry that someone that you knew went through that. But, you know, when people had mental disorders, it wasn't, at least it wasn't commonplace to try to teach them about and normalize the mental disorders in classrooms, because children are experimenting with ideas and children always want to be different. Yeah. And if you say to kids, like, you know, obviously propaganda works. If you tell kids smoke cigarettes, they all start smoking cigarettes. We learned this. And then in my generation, we stomped out smoking cigarettes because of the reverse course on that and saying like, no, actually cancer kills. Well, they taught us in the classroom that cancer kills. And now the majority of people who were smoking like crazy in the 80s are not smoking anymore. So we know that psychological conditioning works, and that the majority of these 12-year-olds, 11-year-olds, 10-year-olds are not non-binary. They're just learning that as a way to be different, they can experiment with these things. And unfortunately, these have very evil results, because kids are being put on drugs that are quite literally used on pedophiles.
Well, that's not necessarily so. But listen, let me just say that about
is a drug.
I think there are a lot of things
on pedophiles in prison. That's what's being given to children.
There's a lot to respond to that as far as the indoctrination. If it was an indoctrination, then I went to a Catholic school, so then I would be, you know, a straight male married to a woman who attends church every single day. If there was any sort of indoctrination that was happening, so apparently the indoctrination at the Catholic school did not work on me, because I ended up being the exact opposite of what they wanted. The other thing is that the whole idea that they're giving young children drugs at an age, and the children are getting to decide at an age that they need these medical drugs for transitioning, that is absolutely not true.
What do you mean that's not true? You can get,
and also
you can get puberty blockers as a child. I had a whole person on my show who
that's
spoke
also
to
with
that
the consent
transition
of the family, and the family. You can get puberty blockers as a child, but the parents have to decide that. That's not some
so they can
child
get puberty blockers.
Who's decide. The parent and the child gets to decide that. So
okay, but that they should puberty blockers fundamentally alter them for life.
Disorder. You understand that it has not been, it's been deemed not to be a mental disorder, and then you're saying that that you're. In your rhetoric, you're saying that it's a mental disorder.
It is a mental disorder. That's what I learned in school.
It's not a mental disorder. Okay,
if you think that you're a boy and you're actually a girl, you are suffering from a mental disorder, obviously, because you can't actually change your sex. Obviously,
I know plenty of children now. I know plenty.
You can play dress up, but you can't change your sex. I know plenty
of young people and old people who are trans, right? And they are not pretending. And it is not a mental disorder.
Well, it is pretending, because you will literally never be able, if you're a little boy, to grow up and have a baby, because you're not a little girl.
I would hope that your child would not grow up, or your children would not grow up, and then thinking that they're trans, and then their parents telling them the exact opposite.
I would tell them that they have a mental disorder, and we're going to get them help.
All right. So Candace Owens keeps it real with Don. Go ahead, Luis. I see you jump.
I gotta say, man, Don Lemon has always had this very, gray kind of background in terms of his track record on covering certain topics and not being very forthcoming and honest about where we are as a country, as a community of people, as a political system, etc. I find it very dishonest on his part, right? Because there's been this huge push, like, for parents to give puberty blockers to their children. Like, you got to understand, like, these kids is not fully developed. Like, young people still have a lot of learning to do in going through their coming out of their shells. And this idea that we're introducing to think that they're one sex or the other is extremely too detrimental to them. And I think that it's pushed upon them more often than not, because those are conversations that parents have with their children at home as opposed to the school having with them, right? I find that today, more often than not, the public educational system is trying to become the new parent. Parents now are only like the money machine. In the public educational system is now the new parent, the new indoctrination of what to think, what to read, how to essentially vote in the future once you get to that point, right? It's just a lot of these things that I didn't really see growing up. When I was in school, like, there wasn't certain things pushed. Everything was still pretty much on the table for discussion in discourse, but not the way that it's being portrayed today. Today, there's a very clear agenda when it comes to the dynamic of relationships. There's clearly a strong agenda with the uprising of women's success. There's clearly an agenda even towards the trans and young people being exposed to that, right, at a very young age, right? Young people are supposed to be in a young person's place, creative, drawing, design, writing, etc., learning about the world in other aspects outside of the political arena and outside of the sexual arena. They'll get to that point, but I feel like that we're kind of pushing these things at such an early age, and it's a very surgical manner, right? It's very surgically kind of interwoven into our fabric of a society, that you see it in popular culture now, whether it's TV shows, cartoons, and it's in every aspect now, right? So even before you as a parent have that conversation, the world around you is having that conversation with your child, and you don't even know it. So hey, you.
All right, go ahead, Allie.
I think that I would agree that the focus on all of this within the public school sector is quite bizarre. And I think what we should start seeing more of is if parents want to get, I'm a lifetime parochial student, high school, grade school, college. And it's like, if parents want to have control of that, then they need to start investing more in their children and putting them in those environments if that's what they want their children to be raised around and believe. Otherwise, yeah, everything in the public school system, it's like the Wild West at this point, and I think it starts at home. But like I said, if you want it to go into the education, then you got to put your kids into private schooling if you don't want them to be exposed to that. The part with transgenderism that always kind of throws me off, and I'm not well versed and educated because I'm still looking into it, is it trips me out when I read about intersex. I just Googled it. It says 1 to 2 people out of 100 people born are considered intersex. So it's like, how does that play into transgenderism and how they identify? Because I've seen posts where people are saying that they're born intersex and then their parents chose the wrong sex and then they're given the wrong hormones and things like that. So these individuals do exist. So it's like I wouldn't want to sit here and deny that struggle. Why I don't think that we should hide that. Like, that's science right there too when those types of things happen. So it's like, do we let the public, the children, and everyone learn about those things and say that these people exist as well? Or do we hide it? So if you want to hide it or not have your children exposed, again, it goes back to my initial point, put your kids in parochial school and it won't be touched on. So I think that's I'm kind of on the fence with everything about that, because I don't think that they should be hidden. I think that there needs to be everyone just needs to take control and make decisions on how they want their bubble to be. And people don't want to take control, and it's kind of irritating. So
All right, go ahead, Cookie.
Without getting too politically incorrect, and because I'm an educator, I think they should first put health back into schools. Just regular old health class, you know what I mean? And we're dealing with this in athletics right now. So you got the trans women coming in competing with the birth-born girls. Everybody wants to make it about religion. I think religion definitely should stay out of school because the Constitution says so. Scientifically, it's impossible, because as long as your chromosomes have a Y in them, you're a boy. Period. If you don't have the double X helix, you're a boy. What you and your parents decide to do with your body after that, and the appearance of your body, is on y'all. I try to stay out of people's business. I don't have any problem with that. I know our governor doesn't stay out of people's business, because in Texas, actually, you can, like, they're trying to make it where it, like, CPS should get involved if a parent's trying to transition their child too early. So I think it also depends on where you are. I don't judge people. I just don't want my basketball team and my volleyball team getting dunked on by girls that were born boys, if I can keep it simple. As far as Candace Owens goes, and calling it mental illness, I don't think anybody under the age of 18 should be able to make that decision. So the mental illness, if it is that, or the misunderstanding, is definitely with the parents, if they're giving their 10-year-old hormones, and if they think about just birth control in itself is dangerous. So I don't know, man. I don't really be in the people business like that. I don't care what you do with your own kids. I know what mine are gonna do, and I know how it affects sports, and it affects life. But I know none of it matters to me, because scientifically, you're still a boy. Scientifically, you're still a woman. So I think it's all stupid. But and I agree with Candace. I mean, if you wanna play dress up and your parents allowing you to do that, do that. I don't disagree with her at all. Because scientifically, that's not how that works. You can't choose to be a basketball one day and identify as that. You can, apparently, in America, but if you're not bouncing around on the court, you don't have Wilson stamped on you and you made out of rubber, you're not a basketball. So just got to think about some things scientifically, and I'll land there, because I'm actually in education and I don't want this to pop up on me.
I appreciate your perspective. I think our children's minds are being attacked. Man. I think they're being attacked by society. It's like kind of one of those things where if you don't experience it, you may not understand. Like, I have no desire to be a woman. I don't know what that feels like. So if someone was to come to me and say that this is the way that they were born, it would sound a little foreign to me, because I just don't understand, by you being a male, what's happening inside. And that may be something with the biology. I'm not a biology major, but I just can't see something being stirred up that says, I want to be this. I think some of it is conditioning. It's probably hard for us to really measure it, but if someone was to, if one of my kids were to come in and say that they were looking to be an opposite of another sex, then I would fight against it as best as possible. I would try my hardest to get their mind on the right track, so to speak, before I just like let up and just say, okay, I accept that. It's just the way I wasn't born, and it's just something that I'm gonna stand on. When it comes to it, it's foreign to me.
I think, like, I'm sorry for cutting in. To tell me more about why you think that, and if they can't explain it, then they probably just confused. You know, I dealt with my daughter who thought she liked girls for the longest, and she found out that she didn't. You know, so I didn't go out and buy pride bracelets and hypnotize her into the rainbow, because about at 16, after her awkward phase and she became a little baddie like her mom, uh, she started getting more attention from boys. And I was like, well, I thought you liked girls. Here we are. She dates men. So any kid going through their sexuality, like, I feel like I was born a boy. Come on, man. At some point you got to sit down and talk to your kids, and not use it as an attention grab for yourself as a parent. Make your kid explain to you why they feel like they was born a boy, because it could be just as much peer pressure as somebody offering your child a cigarette or some weed at school. So I mean, like, tell me why you feel this way. You know what I mean? Talk to your kids. Don't automatically, well, let's go get the hormones. Like, come on, man. Like, let's be for real.
Yeah. Go ahead, Brother Hank. I know
Okay,
it's a
man.
talk, man.
Ladies, y'all was okay with this shit. You was okay with it when little Johnny told you he liked to suck dick. You was okay with that. That's my son. I love him nonetheless. Daddy probably looked at that boy like he was crazy. Probably tried to disown the little motherfucker. Let's be honest. But mama, who had control of the household, talked him off the ledge and agreed with accepting that. And guess what he did? He was part of the community, went down there and pressed the laws. It's okay. It's acceptable. We can do this. And once you open that door up, you open it up to everybody else. So when y'all complain about these transgenders, these cross-dressers, these men who dress like women but they got a full beard better than mine, y'all okay with that shit. So don't get mad when these dick-swinging motherfuckers get their shit chopped off and now they want to be in the WNBA or they want to try for the Olympics and in the swimming pools and on the tracks. Don't be mad. Because let me tell you what's coming next. You army motherfuckers who open this door for these sick people. Beastism. It's okay to sleep with fucking animals. Pedos. It's okay because you're okay with these underage motherfuckers because it's all fair and love and war. You sick motherfuckers open the door. Now you got to accept whatever comes through that bitch. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. I don't believe it should be in school. Unfortunately, we got to deal with it. Unfortunately, I got to worry about teaching my granddaughter at the age of 5 about lesbianism and homosexualism and gay men and straight men. Why is that boy wearing lip gloss? Why is he wearing lipstick? Why does he want to wear the same kind of dress that I want to wear? I got to teach that. I got to talk about that. These kids don't have a chance for innocence no more. Them days are long gone. So now we got to put all of this bullshit on the kids. I have no problem with Candace Owens pressing that man. Yeah, press his ass. Because his punk ass need to be pressed. So his daddy should have pressed his ass. And maybe he won't be like that. Instead, he didn't. So now we got what we got. It is what it is.
Hey, don't forget boxing and MMA now, Hank.
Come on, Lou. They here. They in her.
I just have I agree with you, Hank, but I do have a point that I need to say. I don't know where you from, but down here, it wasn't necessarily just the women. What's even crazier is that religion is so big and everybody's like, oh, conservative, conservative, conservative. But in the black church is where a lot of in the Catholics, a lot of these boys getting turned out by other men. So I don't know where you getting your information from, but you're blaming mothers, but historically on documentation, it's been other men doing this to little boys. I can't speak on the little girls, but I feel like you saying an open door and we accept it. I don't know anything about that. I can only speak for myself, but historically it's been even back to Caesar, the bathhouses, when women had no power. Men was getting bent over. So how does this all falling on us all of a sudden? I'm just curious.
Well, even back then, it wasn't acceptable. Look here, man. Look, let me tell you, though, people of certain color introduced homosexualism to us. That wasn't a thing for blacks. We wasn't into that shit. We was introduced to that shit. And guess what? We're getting more turned down. They keep pressing the issue. They keep pressing in our community. Why? Because we accept any goddamn thing. We think white is right. So white is right? Let's be sissies. Let's go out here and suck a dick or eat a pussy. Let's do that. And we accept all that bullshit. And we brought in our community. We welcome with open arms. And guess what? You think we still trying to get rid of it? Hell no. We encourage it more. And who the one to do it most? The mothers encouraging it. The mothers be down there in pride parades with them, raising the flags, cheering. My son is this. And they happy with it. They okay with it. Instead of encourage your son, I don't think you should be doing this. This is not a thing to do.
Well, and speaking, I can't speak from the black community, but having gone to a Catholic school my entire life, it was a lot of males that were in the systems that were supporting it. So like we had choir teachers, Spanish teachers that were, gay in a Catholic school. So
That's what
that's
that was a white community. This theory
Yeah.
of women.
That's what I think what Hank is speaking to is once it got to our community, who didn't like hammer it down, who kind of, women are comforted, so naturally there's a feeling, because y'all are 100% right. And I too went to Catholic school for most of my grade school years. And the brothers, I went to Marist Brothers schools. So, the brown robes with the ropes hanging down, for all I know, them niggas could have been butt naked under them robes. It was some suspect shit going on, and I went to the same high school that Diddy left. And I heard that he had a situation with one of the brothers at our school, so there's been a lot of those incidents that took place allegedly. But yes, that is historically where it started. I was always under the assumption that individuals were born this way to an extent. When I say that, just like some people are born with gene defects, I assumed that this was one of those. And I empathize with that, with people who experience that, because in college fraternity, I have people who were in my social circle that were that, and some of them were hidden, some of them were out, and I understand how some of them wanted to keep it hidden, because you have the person that is married with kids and they're gay. You understand what I'm saying? Because they don't want to. I'm not doing this. Even though I had these feelings, I'm not doing this. Then you have the people that do it. I'm just going ahead and this is how I feel and this is my life experience. And I know that nobody agrees with it, but what I'm going to do? This is what I feel. I've seen those two instances and I empathize with both of them. The problem I have is when it's being presented as an option, where it's like, oh, Cookie, these dudes out here treating you bad, what, they giving you a hard time, you know what you need to do? Like, come on, girl, come to the club. I'm gonna introduce you to some pussy. That's the problem I have, where you have none of these feelings. You don't swing that way at all, but it's like, let me open up Pandora's box for you. Let me show you all the, wonders that exist out here.
Turning out.
That's the
turning
problem
people
I have
out.
with it. That's the problem I have with it. I empathize with the people that truly day to day experience this and have these feelings, are working through it, and dealt with a heavily religious parent who's literally trying to do anything besides put it down, take their brain, give them brain surgery type shit. Understand what I'm saying? Like, I empathize with that. That's terrible. But now it's no longer that. And to be honest, those particular people can't stand these particular people. They might not be as loud about it because they're living their life figuring it out, but they can't stand all of this, in schools, you 4 or 5 years old and you know who Ellen DeGeneres is dating. You know what I'm saying? Like, they hate those type of people. They can't stand that because they understand that. And I think with the world, the pendulum swings. You understand what I'm saying? And it's gonna swing. And right now, it's swinging in this direction, but it's gonna swing back, because what Candace was saying is correct. That I won't be as bold and call it a mental disorder, but I mean, come on now. Once upon a time when people had mental disorders, we treated them, or we told them like, this isn't the way it's supposed to be. But I think now they're treating us like we're the ones with the mental disorder. They're saying, oh, Hank, word. Yo, Hank, this is a man. Do you understand what I'm saying, Hank? You want to lose your job, Hank? This is a man right here. You understand what I'm saying? And that's the problem I have, when even if you have a mental disorder, even if you feel you are this, that's fine. That's your life. That's not my life. My problem is when you take what your reality is or what your fantasy is and try to make it my reality. That's the problem I have, to the point where you're knocking on my door and you're saying, what, you got a problem? This is a man. We heard that you didn't call this person, like, nah, you bought that to me. I didn't ask for that. You know what I mean? Every show we love, every show we watch, I call them sodomy grenades, yo. They just, stuff don't even have to weave into the storyline, and they just dropping gay sex into it, or they a gay relationship, or it doesn't fit into the storyline. And I don't have a problem with the gay relationship part. I have a problem with them, like, I've been watching The Chi this season, and it's ridiculous. Like, I'm about to wrap it up. What they say, like 6 or 7% of the population is, homosexual. The relationships in The Chi, 90% of the relationships are homosexual. And it's like, it's
So
90%.
on the sitcom, right? The show.
The show, The
Okay.
Chi, yeah. Like, They just dropping them in there, and you understand what the agenda is. Like, this is a clear agenda. If there's more,
Jay, I said, hold on a minute.
I thought something in Chicago. I want to say, damn, really?
not Chicago, But that's the problem I have, man. Where they take everything that we're doing, everything we're watching, everything we're experiencing, and they drop it in there, and then they treat you like you're the problem.
Yeah. And we got to go ahead and close this one out, man. But I'm not trying to change nobody, right? Folks can do whatever it is that they want to do. I'm just real protective of the energy that I surround myself around, and I'm going to control what I can control, which is within my house. As soon as that silly ass shit come on the TV, I'm sitting and I'm looking like, hey, guys don't wear dresses, right? Guys don't do that, right? And he said, I know. I said, as long as you know, because they're going to keep playing some stuff. So if that's your belief, because you can stand on your belief. I don't, just as much as people want us to accept that, it should, to be fair, we don't have to accept it. And so that's something that I'm just going to remove myself from situations at times. I'm not going to be disrespectful, but that's just something that I don't stand for. And I'm okay with saying that. And I'm okay with teaching my children the way that I deem as to be the correct way that I want, for the path that I want my children to be raised in. So it is what it is, man. But you got to make sure.
And the problem is that if you're not, nowadays they're trying to make it, if you're not an ally, you're an enemy. You understand what I'm saying? So it's like, just because you're respectful of wanting to not be involved in it, now you're homophobic or you're transphobic.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. People can think what they want to think, right? As long as it don't get physical, people are entitled to their opinion. And I respect that. I respect anybody's opinion. But as long as it don't get physical, then we all good. You can't make me, as far as I know, as far as what we know, this had to start from somewhere. This is not nothing that just, it wasn't like something dropped down and then now this is life. As far as we know it, life was one way. And I'm okay with that. I don't have that issue. I don't have that feeling within me to be able to relate. So you can't make me relate to that. There's nothing, no chemicals in my body that's allow me to say that this is the route, that this is what I want for my children, this is what I want for my life. So I'm gonna just keep it. I'm gonna be respectful. Y'all do whatever it is you want to do. People can live their life the way they want to live their life, but I'm real careful on who comes within my circle, and I'm careful about the situations I put myself in.
So, JR, it's interesting that we're having this conversation. I went to a networking event on Thursday, and long story short, I had a conversation with this woman who is now in like a more managerial kind of role, right? And we were having this conversation about homeschooling, and she's now engaged, and she's thinking about having children and starting a family, etc. And like homeschooling came up, right? And she had looked into this community of women who are stay-at-home moms who are also homeschooling their children, and they're all in different verse areas. So like, let's say for example, like one woman teaches math and focuses on math, and another one focuses on science, and another one is more versed in like business, right? She teaches business and how to structure business and financial literacy, etc. And sort of like what she's been looking into is how, joining that same kind of community, that same community and circle of women who on one day a week, they would go to one parent's house where those lessons are pretty much structured, right? So they're like really tailored and very structured programs that they're taken from the public school curriculum, but they're also framed in a way where they're more advantageous for those children at the grade level at which they are at, right? Whether it's at an elementary level, whether it's at a middle school level, et cetera, et cetera. And sort of, and I had asked her what's been the positive feedback from that. And she's like, well, the positive feedback that she's gotten from it from other mothers who have also and who are also in this type of circle of moms is that they custom tailor the lessons and also control the learning pace, right? There's no distractions. It's a much more streamlined um, curriculum, right? And then also they feel that they get a lot out of it because you have a pretty much almost a one-on-one teacher and instructor who is more of a subject matter expert in that course or that subject, right? And sort of they're kind of helping each other kind of allow the children get that full educational experience without all the necessary distractions, right? It's like it's a classroom almost tailored for that child, right? And then also if there are any challenges or learning curves, they pretty much kind of scale it in a way where they kind of identify what those issues are and focus on those primarily, and then kind of get back to the curriculum structure without having that child fall behind, right? Unlike public school sector where some kids might be struggling, they might not know, but yet they're kind of pushing these kids forward. I had a conversation with my younger cousin, and she sees this happening all the time. She's like, some of these kids can barely even read, and they're just pushing them forward, right? And I think it does a larger disservice to society because we're not really producing or putting kids in a more advantageous circumstance. So when they get out here in the real world, they're better equipped or they're better situated to start a job, whatever that may be, or if it's even trade school, college, whatever, or the military. But unfortunately, that's just not what's happening. And sort of maybe perhaps that might be something that could be introduced. I don't know what that looks like, honestly, among us, black and brown, melanated people, and sort of like at a community level. I don't know what that looks like or how that's structured. I mean, obviously, we could go back as far as like the 60s and 70s when we were thinking about like the Black Panthers and how they structured stuff, but I don't know today how we will get the kind of support and also the advocacy behind it, right? Because it feels at times when it comes to the educational process, we're kind of divided on that in a sense.
Can I say something about that? I'm a teacher. When you move, when you buy property, when you move into an apartment, it is very imperative that you check the school district for your children. If you have children, if you planning on have children, you have to go visit these schools, see what the schools offer before people are wanting to satisfy themselves with pictures of the gram. Like there's beautiful places to live in Houston, but the schools are garbage. So if you can't afford Kincaid private school, then you might not need to live in Houston. You might need to move somewhere else. You might need to find a suburb where it's like A plus campus. They give them grades. Where I teach, we have a motor shop. Any kid can get into it. You can do the shop class. We have floral class. We have a home ec chef. They can become little chefs before they graduate. We have a salon. We have paramedics. So I'm just like, the right districts, the right funded districts have that. You just have to be prepared to do the research, pay the taxes, be the outstanding citizens in the right place. Not all public educations are bad, but when you choose to live in a bad place for education, it's going to be that. It's going to be bad.
Yeah, I agree with that, man. I agree. I actually have my kids going to the elementary and middle school is a 9 out of 10. So that was something that was intentional. It is in the suburb, and it is it's mixed. Unfortunately, it's mixed. We are the minority, but if you and I got a friend, and I mentioned this before, how this child goes to a hybrid school, hybrid Christian school. So the child goes twice a week, and then the rest of the days they're homeschooled. So they have more of a balance. Let me go ahead. If you guys just tuning in, welcome to Lapeef Sunday. Just make sure you hit the like button. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel. BZ, $10 says, Jay, hit that segment out the park. 100. Don't let them tell you that you're the problem. It is 100% an agenda with political backing that for some reason we have not figured out how to use. We had another one. I thought we had another one. We didn't. If I miss it, I'll get back to it. All right, I'm going to go ahead and play this KD clip, and then we'll go ahead and get into it.
Perfect segue to your reasons why you're single.
That what
this is? No. I swear, Katie. I swear to you. I swear to you. No, I swear to you.
I really wrote that down.
Oh, this is you didn't write this?
You were trolling, bro. I didn't. That was a fake account,
bro.
I am way too player to write some shit down like that.
But is any of it? But is any of it remotely true though?
Hell no.
So why are you single?
Because I don't want a girlfriend.
Just that, simply put.
Yeah.
I think that's why we broke up.
I have my moments where
I think that's why we broke up, bro.
We got our moments of times where
I feel like you got your heart broken one time.
Heartbroken?
Really, yeah. Bro, I did too. I feel like you got your heart broken one time, and that just really fucked you up.
I wouldn't say I had my heart broken. I started to understand women a little bit more as I got. Well, early on, I understood that like she's not mine. Even if she may be my girlfriend, she might be influenced by other people.
No. KD, you're selling yourself short of the greatest energy in this world that is love.
So
I mean, he's right, but
I don't trip on that relationship. If we having a good time for a moment, then cool. If you end up venturing off, and I do too, it is what it is.
But don't you know anybody that's been like married for like decades?
Yeah, I know some people that are married for a couple weeks.
Yeah, but you're focusing too much on those people.
I'm focusing on everything.
All right, let's go ahead and get into it, man. Start with you, Brother Hank. How you feel about that? It almost seems as though like KD might have been hurt. It seems like there's some type of fear of commitment there, just based off of his response. But what were your thoughts about that?
Well, look, I mean, if I was him, if you ain't got a situation like you have with LeBron, with a high school sweetheart, while I'm still actively playing in the NBA, I wouldn't have no serious relationship. I definitely wouldn't be married if I was in the NBA unless I had a situation, like I said, like LeBron. Now, for these other young cats that are doing it, hey, man, good luck. Because please believe you me, they getting them IG thought queens, and they trying to make them wives and hoping that they are going to be faithful to them and all that good stuff. But lo and behold, they topping off the next player that come through the city. That's probably how they got them, because you met her at the club. She looked good to you, and she gave you that good wet, and everything was good. And now you trying to permanently put a ring on it. Well, lo and behold, she's still doing the same thing that got you. Ooh la la. And now you in your feelings. Now you mad. Now you upset. No, dog. Pop should have told you, you might want to leave that heifer alone. She fast. She for everybody. She for the streets. She's commodity ass. And that's not what you want. So no, if I was a young man in the NBA, I wouldn't be trying to get married unless I had a situation like Brian. If I knew the girl from the giddy up, she was down with me when I ain't have little to nothing but clout and maybe a name. Other than that, no, I wouldn't do it. I definitely would encourage another young man to do it, not right now, unless I was in that situation. And most of these guys are not. They are doing just what I said. They finding these chicks in the club and trying to make them something. They're not worth two dead flies. Why the hell are you trying to wife up these heifers like that? Enjoy yourself. Live your best life. Do what you got to do, but please believe me, put a raincoat on. Don't go on these heifers naked head, because we see what happens. They all of a sudden they come knocked up. Now you the baby daddy. Now you the meal ticket. Brittany Renner got a hold of your ass, and ain't shit you could do about it. I mean, what's my man from Houston? Now she got him a 39-year-old baby mama. God damn, man, what is going on around here? But that's what they look at. They out there looking for meal tickets. You young cats, boy, I'm telling you, they got 10, 15, 20 years experience of getting that thing the way you like it. And they put it on your chin or on your face.
Ooh la la.
You falling in love with that pearl tongue. It's over for you.
Hello, motherfucker.
The funny thing is, on that interview, Logan's assistant Mike, or assistant co-host Mike, his ex actually tried to put a baby on KD. I don't know if y'all know that, but
he was right.
He had an ex-girlfriend who, and I might be messing up the details, but he had an ex-girlfriend who was an adult film star, sex worker, whatever you call them. And you know, her and KD was hanging out, and then she kept saying she was saying she was pregnant, and then she kept dropping hints on what NBA star was. And you know, they got footage of her and KD hanging out one night, you know, until KD had to come flat out, like, nah, dog, I'd never slept with shorty. Like, what is she talking about? This might be my, you know, everything was leading us, because we saw the pictures, to thinking it was his baby, but it ended up not being his. But I think it's funny that they're on this podcast together right now. In terms of
you know something, I don't know what they was trying to insinuate. You know, I don't know what they are trying to say about it, because you know there have been some rumors about KD's sexuality. They trying to question that too. So I don't know. Maybe because the unusual relationship he has with his mother. I don't know, man. But I'm gonna leave it there. My bad, Jay. I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead, brother.
Nah, you good. That's another point. If you look at that post, you know, on certain, you know, of course, Shade Room, and it's drenched in, oh, we know what that mean. Oh, we know what that mean. You know, he can't just be smart. You know, smart until he's not. You know, he got a mom that was young when she had him, and she knew how hard it was to do. You know, she got him to the highest heights. So I'm sure she's in his ear like, baby, you need to stay out these hot pockets, yo. You know what I'm saying? Stop dealing with the, you know, she gave him some good insight, some good intel. So, and he has no kids. But I can only imagine how difficult it is once you know, a person like LeBron is, you know, it's kind of a blessing in disguise. You had somebody that was with you when you had nothing. You know what I mean? So to be able to hold on to that and know that this person was there when you was dirt poor, you know, her Walgreens job was probably holding y'all down. You know what I mean? Her damn Burger King job was probably the reason you had some fresh sneakers on. And now you able to repay that. You at the level where you able to just elevate the whole family and repay that. Like, when his career is over, I'm pretty sure like it's gonna be about her. You know what I mean? Like, it's your time, because she sat patiently in the cut for 20 something years. Let him do him, you know, movies, basketball, you know, movie companies he started, Spring Hill. She sat in the back and played her role. Now when he retires, I'm pretty sure he's gonna start pouring into her. But I know it's good to have somebody that you know is there for the right reason, versus being a person like KD that's out here making all this money and not truly knowing that this person really loves you for you. So you have to be skeptical. You have to move accordingly. And I think, yo, be single as long as you can until you find somebody that's truly there, or that at least is on your level, so that you don't end up like 1,000 other of these NBA players that, you know, Hink started naming.
Go ahead, Cookie.
All right. I'm not trying to be hostile, but we can't pick and choose when these situations are valid. Let's call it what it is. KD is a son husband. All right. He had a single mom, and that's where his loyalty lies. Is it working out for him because his story is great? Yes. But we not gonna sit here and one day say, "Oh, single moms be incestuous with their sons," and blah 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 blah, and then like he's fucking immune to that. No, he just happens to be KD, and his mom is his freaking life. All right, she probably won't let him get close to anybody, which at this point is smart. But let's not act like that just started. Okay. I think his mom has conditioned him not to trust anybody but her. Is it working out for him financially? Yes, but I agree with the dudes on the show. To know love is something that I feel like everybody should have. And if your mom constantly, she would be the mother-in-law from hell, I'm sure, because he's a son husband. But we can't sit here and act like that's not what's going on here. We can't dance around the fact that KD had his mama down on the court when he won. And I get it, she had provided, but we can't pick successful single moms over. Like, we can't just ignore that. So that's what I have to say.
Yeah, that's an interesting point, Cookie. When I look at LeBron, and his dynamic with his mother in the trajectory of his entire career, his mom being a single mom, right? And she was his biggest fan, right? It's his son. It's her son, right? Went to the games, the road games, was there to support him. Also provided the best structure that she could, considering her circumstance. The father was never present in his life, in LeBron's life. He was never in the picture, but she stepped up and she became the best mom that she could, and then also instilled the value systems that she felt that were best to make him be successful, not only on the court but also off the court, right? And then I believe she also put him around the best men in his life to kind of guide him the best way that she knew that they could, right? I don't think she was like a son husband, to LeBron. But I also do think that she was very knowledgeable and understanding that she has a talented child that a lot of people are going to try to leech off of, from a business perspective, from a relationship perspective, from a friend perspective, right? I'm sure she helped vet a lot of people and kind of look like, hey, don't spend much time with that boy over there, because I'm picking up these things in these type of behaviors, or I've noticed how their parent are raising their child, and sort of like that doesn't really align with the value systems of this house or what I'm trying to accomplish to make you come out to be, right? I think there was a very cautious journey that they undertook as a parent, and I'm pretty sure, maybe perhaps KD's mom did the same thing, but maybe from a different lens. Maybe there was a bit of, a little bit bashing of certain, women, or maybe the uneasy settlement of his father also being in his life, right? Because behind the veil, we don't know. We can only make so many assumptions about certain things. But him being successful is a byproduct of her being in his life and her having an instrumental hand, right? Especially without having a father figure or a male figure. I'm pretty sure she probably did the same thing, put certain men in his life who helped him kind of evolve into the type of man that he is today. But I also think that there was a lot of cautious steps in terms of be careful about, dating certain women and having certain women come around. Because let's be honest, as soon as these kids are on TV, they're a meal ticket. Like, especially with the age of social media, a lot of people are much more readily accessible, right? And sort of when you have your parents in your life in that dynamic, they're telling you about the pitfalls that happen, right? About people trying to make promises to you, people trying to become your friend when they're really not, when they don't have the best intentions from you, when people are trying to date you, when they don't really have the best intentions in you, right? So it's a lot different now, especially with the internet versus when we didn't have the internet, right? When we didn't have social media. LeBron's situation is probably a fairy tale in itself. Not that she was ever holding down LeBron. I think that was the mother, but she was probably there as a supporting cast, like, you know, tell him that even on his worst days that he's going to do great and probably encouraging him. You need a rock in your corner. And for him, he lucked out and had somebody who valued him outside of what monetary she might receive further down the road. She got a beautiful family out of it and a legacy out of it, right? That's not always the circumstance or the outcome for most other players or other people in those situations. For KD, I don't think, you know, family or kids are in his cards. Maybe that was probably maybe that was a decision based on his upbringing or the things that he saw. But when it pertains to just relationships, I think that he's probably been let down and he sees the other side, and sort of he's elected not to really date exclusively or monogamously while he's still in the league. My opinion.
He probably played ball with a lot of deadbeats. You know what I'm saying? Like, he probably plays ball with a lot of his teammates are people that out here, you know, ejaculating in everything that move, got 14 kids, 9 that they know about. And he's like, I don't want to be that. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to be what I was a product of. You know, so I'm going to move differently. Like Gilbert Arenas. I remember Gilbert was talking about, because it's just a reality. Think about it. These guys play 82 games a season. You know how much time they're away from their families? You know, and Gilbert was like, when he retired, he had to reintroduce himself to his kids. Like, you know, he was the one messing up the structure. He said, you know, when he wanted to spend time with his kids, essentially he was messing up the routine that the mother has set for them. You know, they in bed at 7:30, 8 o'clock. You know, he come home from the game at 10:30, 11. He's like, yeah, let's go get ice cream. You know, she's like, they got school in the morning. Like, what are you talking about? Oh, you know, but he's the good dad, the fun dad, you know, but he was the one messing up their routine. But he couldn't spend any quality time with his kids because his career, you know, the NBA is demanding time away from your family. It's a sacrifice. Yes, y'all live like this, but guess what? You're not going to see dad. Dad is going to be gone a lot. When he retired, he literally had to learn his kids from scratch, like they were just born. Okay, you the mean one. You good at sports. You the intelligent one. You the, you know, now he's starting to enjoy that. But for the most part, you know, that's a sport where it's a sacrifice, you know. And the support system has to be understanding of that sacrifice.
Go ahead, Allie.
I think with the theme that everyone's been saying, dating in the celebrity arena, I can understand why KD has been turned off by it. JR, to your point, could he have potentially been hurt at one point in time early on and then just decided to hone in on his career, which I totally respect. I think that we just need to give it, I mean, look at George Clooney, right? Everybody thought that he would be a forever bachelor, and he's still going strong, got married, has kids later in life. I know 2 different areas, you know, one's in film and one's in basketball, but I mean, I just think that it's so early to tell. And I think he could also be, you know, even though he has a good relationship with his mother, it could very well be his very own personal decision and direction that he wants to take. It makes sense to me why he doesn't want a girlfriend. It makes complete sense. And I like Jay's point of, look how busy they are. So just because he's single doesn't mean he's lonely. but he's also trying to be careful to watch out for those landmines. So you really have to be able to focus to vet out a good quality partner. And being of celebrity status, I can't even fathom how hard that would be. But I think he definitely has plenty of time to, to worry about that later.
Anybody see the movie? Not He Got Game. The other one with Epps.
With Mike Epps.
Omar Epps?
Basketball.
Love and Basketball. What was it? Love and Basketball.
Love and basketball.
Yeah, where the father was having a conversation with the son when he was trying to explain to him, like, I was trying to set you up so you know how to see the women who are waiting at the end of the tunnel, who got past security, and then don't forget about the ones who are waiting at the hotel level when you get there, and all the people that are coming at you, right? It's like you think you know what's coming, but you have no clue. And I believe it's just about, having those conversations so you have realistic expectations of the things that you can't control and the things you can't control.
Do men have a natural instinct to just sniff out bullshit or not? Because, like, for me, that's common sense. That's a real question.
Common sense is not common, Cookie. I'll be honest with you.
I mean, you gotta understand.
But
like,
you also gotta put the fact in, men fall for ass on a regular basis. They will sacrifice jobs, relationships, money,
freedom
for a piece of ass. They
Man,
do
we've
stupid
heard
shit. We do
people-
sometimes.
I mean, we've heard dudes talk about taking 2 buses, and going 45 minutes, man, for some ass. you talk about the
Bus?
level
Is
of
somebody giving
dedication.
him ass on a bus?
no, to the ass, taking a bus to the ass. But
Still.
let me ask you this: you ever heard the expression that women are mature faster, or are about 7 years more mature
I have
than men?
brothers. I have.
The reason for that is because y'all deal with a lot more at a younger age. Y'all have a lot coming out of y'all. So a lot coming at y'all. So by the time you're 25, 24, 25, you've already had grown-ass men coming at you since you were probably 14, 13 years old, maybe younger,
So
depending on
our
how.
bullshit radar is stronger.
Bingo. Whereas some of us, our little beard grow out, our little mustache, our chest start poking out. And whenever that happens, like me, I ain't hit my growth spurt till my first year in college. You know what I mean? So I was just so we mature later, and we get attention later. So whereas y'all been dealing with it for 10 years, we probably only been dealing with it for 2, maybe 3. So now with all that information, we have to discern, okay, is she full of shit? Is she good? Is she a sweet girl? Is she, so y'all have a lot that y'all deal with much earlier. And my fault, last thing. And he's an athlete. And you being in athletics, some people are dedicated to athletics. They don't have time for social lives and hanging at the club and doing all this. So that's even more of a barrier. You add, a woman might be 12 years more mature than a person like KD because all he knows is AAU, high school basketball camps, et cetera,
Yeah, I understand. It just sounds like fear of doing, in doubt of doing what's right and being able to pick your person. But I get it. Why deal with it when you got so many other things to deal with? I still think it's his mom, but I'm trying to see the other side of the argument too, or the discussion. Like maybe he just don't want that right now. I get it.
Cookie, is it fear or is it caution? I think. I mean, it could be both. I think it might be a mixture of both, but I think it might be the blind.
It's
blind
healthy
anger.
fear.
there you go. I think it might be a dose of healthy fear, or maybe he's gotten a glimpse of what that potential outcome could be, right? Because like everything doesn't always work out, and I think nowadays it's like everything's so loose in terms of where people stand in a relationship aspect, and some people who come into your life do not understand the sort of the pressure that you're on, or the spotlight that you'll be on, or you're dating, KD, or you're his fiance, or
Right,
you're always
right.
going, like, a lot of people don't know how to handle that. They're not media trained. They're not, what I'm saying? A lot of people fly off the handles when it comes to social media. They post anything, they say anything, right? There's a sort of like there's a behavior
Oh no,
aspect, and sometimes
absolutely. I get
that's
it.
sometimes
Because when
overlooked.
I was in college, a lot of you couldn't date somebody that wasn't an athlete because they'd ask you stupid questions like, "Do you have to go to practice every day?" What do you mean? On scholarship. They paying for me to be here. I can't miss practice. And unless you're another student athlete, you understand that at 2 o'clock, I need to make my way to whatever facility that the Louisiana State University says I need to be at. What are you talking about? So I get that. Some people just can't relate to the lifestyle, which goes back to me saying like discernment. You know what I mean? Like, I guess I can't understand why it's so hard for certain people to figure out what fits within their lifestyle. I mean, maybe you don't want to turn your nose up at people. Sometimes you have to turn your nose up at people. Sometimes people are not good enough for you. People are like, oh, you're a snob. No, I just know what is good for me. And there's nothing wrong with that preference. If he has a preference to not date, that's cool. That's not my business. But if it's a whole like everybody the same, I don't trust nobody, it's like, bruh, somebody out here for you. You know what I mean? So, and you won't find them if you're constantly keeping it people at an arm's length. And all the women are like, well, fuck it, he do he even like women at this point? So I don't know. I guess I don't know. I get it, but then again, it's just like, bruh, don't mess with the girls in the hotel lobby. Cause anybody in the hotel lobby willing to mess with any one of your teammates. So go to Starbucks, go to a library. You know what I mean? Find somebody there. I mean, he ain't the sexiest crayon in the box either. So, there's that factor, but I could go on about that all day.
There's no such thing. There's no such thing as an ugly $250 million man.
Yeah, it is. I wouldn't talk to him.
He probably carry hot sauce in his pocket just like Drake had to.
I wouldn't talk to him. I wouldn't. People could be on the chat. Oh, yeah, she's lying. No, I know several athletes, professional, retired, still playing. No, if you're not attractive to me, I'm not talking to you. I don't find Kevin Durant attractive anyway. So this is about as deep as this conversation get for me. I'm just trying to understand his mindset. But y'all did a good job painting a picture for me. I'm late for a meeting, JR.
Now we're about to ready to close it on now. AP accountability partner, $20 says salute to the panel brothers, J.R. Hank, Louise, and Jay, Sister Cookie, Lady Allie, what's good, fam? Thank you, AP. Appreciate that, sir. That's a wrap, man. I know everybody got to go ahead and continue their Sunday. I want to thank the panel members for their perspectives today. Let's make sure we support them, whatever they got going on. Also, hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel on your way out. Happy Sunday, y'all. We out.
Peace.